Here we have another word problem. Catherine Chong invests a certain amount of money received from her grandmother in 3 ways. With one part, she buys a U.S. saving bond with a particular interest rate. She uses the second part, which amounts to twice the first, to buy mutual funds that offer a particular return. And she puts the rest of the money into money market and, with an account paying a certain interest rate there. The first year, her investments bring a return of $470. How much did she invest each way? So, she invested her money into 3 separate accounts. The first one was savings bonds. So, the second one was mutual funds, and the third one was money market. So when we're trying to solve this one, we're looking for 3 separate numbers. We want to figure out how much was invested in each of these 3 things. So that's why I know that I'm going to have 3 different variables. X, I'm going to go ahead and make the amount of money in savings. Y is going to be the amount in mutual funds. And Z is going to be the amount in money market. So that's the amount of money invested in each. That's what these amount invested. I'm being more explicit there because we could talk about the amount of interest that she earned from that, or the amount of interest that it earns per year, the percentage of interest, or whatever. So I'm just saying the amount invested here so that there's not any confusion. Now what we need to do, we have 3 variables. In order to solve this, we need 3 separate equations, which means we need 3 statements that relate these numbers together. So right off the bat, I don't know about you, but these interest rates seem to be kind of pounding down the door. There's something to be said with the interest rates. So we know that, let's start with that one. The amount of interest earned was $470. This is the first equation. So I'm going to figure out the first statement I'm dealing with. So I'm going to write it down as an equation. I know the amount of interest earned was $470. I put some emphasis on the word was here because whenever you see a word was or is or something like that, you can always translate that as an equal sign. That's how I know that there's nothing else on this side of the equation. I can just say equals 470. But I need to actually figure out the total amount of interest earned. Relating to X, Y, and Z. So let's see. Her savings bonds earn a 2.5% interest per year. Thinking of this as a decimal, not as a percent here, this would be 0.025. And if she has a certain amount of money invested in savings, if you recall your interest formula, I equals PRT. This is the amount of interest earned. This is your principal. This is the amount invested. This is your interest rate. And this is the time. We're saying this is over a period of 1 year, so this is just going to be a value of 1. So you can see the amount of interest earned is just going to be the amount of interest invested times the interest rate. So we're just going to take that 0.025 times the amount of money invested in savings, which we're conveniently enough calling X. The second part earns a return of 6%, so this is 0.06y, and the third part earns 0.0, gotta make sure I have the right decimal here, 0.045z. You want to make sure you move your decimal place over the correct number of places there. And also, this would be really wacky if you said 4.5z, because then she's somehow earning 450% interest. If you end up with negative values for the amount invested in one of these, chances are it's something like that. There's some sort of mistake somewhere. All right, in any case, the amount of interest earned was $470. That whole equation is taking this, is saying that statement. So now I can basically ignore anything that has to do with interest, and I need to find 2 more statements. I didn't use the fact that there's $10,000 total here. Well, a total of $10,000 means, well, x plus y plus z equals 10,000. If you were to sum all 3 of these together, you get $10,000. Okay? Now, does anyone see where the remaining clue is? The remaining thing that relates these. This part right here. She uses the second part. The second part is twice the first. Now, I said this amounts to twice the first. I just changed it to is twice the first. But, you know, again, I think that's a fairly hopefully that's a fairly straightforward thing to do. But the reason I'm using the word is because that gives me my equal sign. The second part, this is supposed to read second. The second part, that was the amount of money invested in mutual funds. We're calling that y. And twice the first, this is going to be 2x. Now, I would recommend you be very careful whenever you see something like this, where it says one thing is twice another. It's very, very common. Oops. Not 2x, or not 2y equals x. It's very common for people to put the 2 on the wrong number. But if y is twice as big as x, and you want to set these two things as equal to each other, that means you need to double x to get to y, which is exactly what I've written here. You're not going to double y to get to x, because y is already twice as big. If you doubled y, you'd be 4 times as big as x then. You know, that's just not what we're after. In any case, if you can restate the statement so that there's the word is in there and do a direct translation, I think that that's a very reliable method to make sure you get this set up correctly. Another thing you can do is just try putting in some numbers. Let's say, for instance, the second amount, the amount in mutual funds, the second part amounts to twice the first. Just try some numbers. You know that 10 and 5, that works, kind of just reading through this. The second part amounts to twice the first. Okay, well, if it's 5 and 10, that should work. If I plug those numbers into this equation, it should make this equation true. 10 equals 2 times 5. That works. That would be, you know, it would tell me that 2y equals x. That one clearly wouldn't work, because then it would say 20 equals 5. And, yeah, that would alert me to the fact that I had that that equation set up incorrectly. In any case, now that we have 3 equations, we can we have our 3 equations here. We can start to get ready to put this into well, let's put them all into standard form. This one right here, y equals 2x, is not currently in standard form. You could either say subtract 2x from both sides to get 2x plus y equals 0, or you could subtract y from both sides to get 2x minus y equals 0. It doesn't really matter which one of those you do. But then we would want to put this into an augmented matrix. So 0.025, 0.06, 0.045, 470. That's my first equation. 111, 10,000. And if you put these in a different order, that still works. The order of the equations is not important. Let's go with this one. I don't know. 2x minus y equals 0. 2x minus y. Z doesn't enter into it, so I'm going to say 0z equals 0. So this is what this equation right here looks like. 2x minus y equals 0 is 2, negative 1, 0, 0. We could then plug this into the calculator and get a solution. I'm going to leave it here, though, because I think we've done enough of those already.